Oh, I just want to do a quick video on a tweet I saw today from a political junkie named Ed Krassenstein, who's a Democrat. Um, and it's unbelievable what some people will do just to get attention. So here's the tweet, and I'm going to read it to you. This was made yesterday, 2 days ago. Yes, the U.S. did bomb targets in Iraq and Syria yesterday. No, that doesn't mean we are at war with these countries, but that we are trying to start a war. It's called defending America. To all the Trump supporters who are attacking Biden over this, you should explain to us why you are okay with Trump bombing or initiating airstrikes on targets. This part, holy shit. Let's dissect it here. So last week, 3 American service members were killed on the border of Jordan, Syria, from a group called Katan Hezbollah, with links to Iran. Now, this whole situation with the bombing of Iraq and Syria is directly related to Iran, Lebanon, right? The wider regional war, which are being influenced by none other than the United States and Israel. Okay. Ed Krassenstein is a devoted, loyal Democrat, and he will defend the likes of Obama, Hillary Clinton, and Joe Biden, just like any other slob will defend the likes of Donald Trump and George W. Bush Jr., right? So he's no different than the people that he rails against. No different. He's politically slanted and he's brainwashed. Now, you have to be completely ignorant or shamelessly imbued with your politics to state that bombing a foreign airspace is not considered an act of war, nor is it an act of trying to start a war. So tell me, Ed Krassenstein, how is bombing Iraq and Syria defending America? And of all countries to use as the example, Iraq, the country that we illegally invaded in 2003, and it was an illegal war, which was exasperated by your president, the president you considered the best president of your lifetime, Barack Obama. Obama bombed all those countries you mentioned that Trump bombed and destroyed Libya under the direct orders of who? Well, the influence of Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, Jennifer Powers, and Susan Rice. Now, see you criticizing them for destroying a country which didn't have an Islamist problem, now as open air slave markets. And considering what we're doing in Syria, by the way, Syria, Obama's war, we were there to fight against the terrorists, right? Remember the war on terror that Bush exclaimed in 2001 that Obama would eliminate the terrorists? Well, he did the exact opposite. They actually were in Syria fighting against the Islamic State, and they were running a covert CIA operation, which was backed by Israel, Saudi Arabia, and Jordan. And it was called Timber Sycamore. And we were actually giving weapons aid to the very people we were supposed to be at war with regarding terrorism. Al-Qaeda affiliates like Jabhat al-Nusra. By the way, that program ended under the Trump administration. One of the few things that he did get right. Well, don't get me started on Obama. What about Biden? We saw more wars in the last 12 months than we did in the previous 24. Ukraine, Yemen, Iraq, Syria, And of course, how can we forget Gaza? Yes, we're involved in that too because we're giving weapons to Israel. So it seems your president, Ed Krassenstein, just loves to drop the munitions left and right and giving billions upon billions of dollars in military aid in wars that will go seemingly on forever in Ukraine, in Iraq, in Syria. What about the largest humanitarian crisis in the world, Yemen? One of the preambles that Biden ran on was that he was going to stop the forever wars. In his second week in office, he gave the largest military aid package deal to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and they used those weapons on Yemeni civilians. That's now, how is Iraq threatening America? Did they invade American airspace and drop bombs in cities like Detroit, New York City? What about Syria? Did they invade American airspace? Oh no, they were bombing who? American interests stationed overseas in countries that they shouldn't be in the first place. Did you know that last year the Iraqi provisional, I'm sorry, in the year 2012, the Iraqi provisional government had a vote to oust the U.S. military from its country? Did they leave? No. Now, laws of the international criminal. This should be considered. This is all about Iran, basically, because Iran's the big picture here. And Israel has been pushing for this war along with the Department of Defense. Has been like ho hum because they know this is in Iraq or Afghanistan. This would be a very long themed war. The United States has also violated the international criminal courts in terms of crimes of aggression. How so? Well, the United States has imposed an arms ban and almost a total economic embargo on Iran, which includes sanctions on companies doing business with Iran. Even countries like Argentina, who are the biggest importers of Iranian oil in the world, a ban even on all Iranian origin imports, sanctions on Iranian financial institutions, even an almost total ban on selling aircraft parts to Iranian aviation companies, such as Iran Air and the Tidewater Middle East Company, which runs 7 Iranian ports. owned by the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. And in February of 2012, this happened under the Obama administration, the U.S. froze all property of the central bank and other Iranian financial institutions, as well as that of the Iranian government. So that's considered an act of war. And I'm going to show you how hypocritical you are. Now, here's the article that Ed Krassenstein wrote for USA Today, and he wrote it back in July 23rd, 2018. Trump's tweet, threat to Iran is irrational, lacks credibility, today's talker. The truth is that Trump's threat lacks credibility. A U.S. attack would provoke a wider regional war that would be an order of magnitude worse than what we saw in Iraq. I'll read that again, especially this part. A U.S. attack would provoke a wider regional war. So in other words, he's admitting that if Trump attacked Iran, it would provoke a wider regional war by invading their airspace. That would be an order of magnitude worse than what we saw in Iraq. Well, he considers that a war crime. Right? Donald Trump is once again issuing bombastic threats of war, this time against Iran. This administration's total lack of coherent approach to Iran has created a strategic vacuum wherein U.S. policy is reduced to the hackneyed regime change rhetoric of neoconservatives and their primal screams of an undisciplined, callow president. The irony here is off the charts. And for those saying, oh, did he really write this article? Well, if you go all the way down to the bottom, Ed Krassenstein, founder of Hill Reporter. It's the playbook that's writing out. And if you understood Ed Krassenstein, if you had any type of experience in geopolitics and politics, which you clearly do not, you'll notice that it doesn't matter who's in office, whether it's Trump, whether it's Obama or Biden. This war, Israel's calling the shots. And they have been for the last 60 years. And with the conflicts happening in Lebanon, Syria, and what's happening in Gaza, all Israeli dominated, influencing U.S. politics. But you don't got the guts to admit that much, do you? Nor do you have the guts to be honest in your journalism. That's why you're not a journalist. And you're no different than the very people who you daily criticize.